Carrara's editor stood behind his desk, pacing. "This story," he said, holding up the pages, "it's too personal, too sympathetic." Carrara stayed seated, hands folded, spine straight. "It's honest." He stopped. "You know how this will look." "Yes," she said. "It'll look like a journalist telling the truth, even when it's inconvenient." He rubbed his temple. "You built your career on being sharp, on taking people apart." "I built my career on asking questions," Carrara replied. "And I finally followed one all the way to the answer." Silence filled the office. He glanced down at the manuscript again, slower this time, not as an editor hunting flaws, but as a man reading a story. "You really want to put your mother in this?" he asked. "She spent her whole life lifting me up," Carrara said. "The least I can do is let the world see her." He exhaled. "This isn't the piece you were supposed to write." "No," Carrara said. "It's the one I was meant to write." Another beat. Finally, he lowered himself into his chair. "Run it." Carrara felt something loosen inside her chest. "But understand," he added, "after this, you won't be just the attack reporter anymore." A small smile touched her lips. "Good." The story went live at 12:01 a.m. By dawn, it had shattered every engagement record the network had. But Carrara barely noticed. She sat alone in her apartment, scrolling through messages. A woman in Kansas wrote, "My mom cleaned offices too. Thank you for seeing her." A veteran wrote, "I've been Raymond. I didn't think anyone cared." A college freshman wrote, "If your mom believed in you, maybe mine believing in me is enough." Carrara pressed a hand to her mouth. For the first time, she wasn't trending because she had torn someone down. She was trending because she had lifted someone up. Weeks later, Carrara stood at a small podium at a journalism conference. A young reporter raised her hand. "How do you balance holding powerful people accountable while still telling stories with compassion?" Carrara thought of her mother, of Raymond, of Claire, of a man who had quietly paid for a funeral and never asked for credit. She answered simply, "You tell the whole story." The room was silent. Not the story that fits your anger. Not the story that fits your politics. The story that fits the truth. She swallowed. "My job isn't to decide who people should hate." She met the young reporter's eyes. "It's to make sure no one is invisible." That night, Carrara pinned a single photograph above her desk. It was an old one. Her mother, standing in their tiny kitchen, wearing that faded sweater, smiling like everything was going to be okay. Carrara whispered, "We made it, Mom." And for the first time in her life, she believed it. Carrara stood her ground. "It's true," she said quietly. "Every word." Her editor studied her, then sighed. "You used to be our firebrand." Carrara met his gaze. "I still am. I just learned fire can warm people too." He leaned back, considering. "You'll take heat from every side." "I know." A long pause. Finally, he nodded. "Front page. Full spread. Be ready." The article dropped at 7 a.m. By noon, it had passed 10 million views. Celebrities shared it. Veterans organizations sent flowers. Single mothers filled Carr's inbox with thank you notes. Not all of it was praise. Some called her a traitor. Others said she'd been bought. Carra read it all and kept standing. For the first time in her career, she wasn't chasing approval. She was chasing truth, and she had never felt freer. Weeks later, Carr was asked to moderate a charity town hall where Trump was speaking. No scripts, no teleprompters, just families, students, and first responders. A little girl raised her hand. "Why do people always yell at you?" Trump smiled gently. "Because sometimes the truth makes people uncomfortable, and that's okay." The room laughed. Carra lifted her mic. "So, Mr. President, any regrets?" He looked at her. "I regret not hiring your mom. She would have made a better chief of staff than half the people I knew." The crowd laughed again. Carra laughed too. Then she cried. "So, did he?" The clip went viral, not because it was political, but because it was human. Letters poured in. "A teacher from Idaho. Your story gave me strength to keep going." A veteran's widow. "Now I believe someone is still listening." One envelope had no return address. Inside, a single line, "Your mom is proud. Keep writing." Kara held the note to her chest. She whispered, "Thank you, Mr. President." From the second list, Kara followed another name, Eli Thompson, a farmer in Nebraska. Quiet, weather-worn, guarded. He showed her fields that almost vanished during a brutal drought. "I wrote the White House once," Eli said. Didn't expect a reply. He got one. A week later, a federal grant arrived. Enough to save his land. Enough to keep his workers paid. "No cameras," Eli said. "No interviews. Just help." Kara published a piece under the title. The rain came after the letter. It went viral. Again. Soon after, Kara received an invitation to the White House. Not for a press conference. For dinner. Trump greeted her with a small grin. "You're becoming a problem." "Why is that?" "You're telling stories nobody else will." They sat without staff, without recorders. Kara asked, "Why do you help people and never talk about it?" Trump took a sip of Diet Coke. "Because once you talk about it, it stops being about them." She nodded. That night, Kara understood something simple. The most powerful truths aren't shouted. They're lived. At a college graduation weeks later, Trump paused mid-speech. "There's a reporter here today who once tried to expose me, but ended up exposing the truth instead." He looked toward Kara. "Stand up." Applause filled the stadium. "And if her mother's watching," Trump added, "she raised a good one." Kara cried. "So, did a lot of people watching at home?" Afterward, Trump pulled her aside. "I want you to lead a new project," he said. "No politics, just people. A platform for real American stories." Kara hesitated. "You're offering me a job?" Trump shook his head. "I'm offering you a mission." She accepted. Kara's new show launched weeks later. No debates, no shouting, just stories. A mechanic who fixed cars for free. A widow who started a school in her garage. A teenager who invented a water purifier for his town. Viewers wrote, "You're bringing America back to its heart. You're the first reporter I trust again." That meant more than any award. One story still haunted Kara. Her mother's. She tried to write it, failed. Then Trump called, "Come to the Rose Garden." A new bench stood beneath blooming flowers. A small plaque read, "In honor of Linda Bell." She believed in truth and in her daughter. Kara broke down. "You didn't have to do this." Trump replied softly, "You told the world her story. I just gave a seat." Some networks called Kara soft. Others said she'd sold out. But in small towns, veterans saluted her. Mothers hugged her. Teenagers asked for advice. Kara knew the truth. She hadn't betrayed journalism. She had revived it. Not everything has to be war. Sometimes the real revolution is grace. On a quiet fall evening, Kara returned to her childhood home. She sat on the porch, her mother's old sweater around her shoulders, notebook in her lap. She wrote, "Once upon a time, a reporter tried to embarrass a man, but instead, he gave her back her story. And with that, she began again."